Let's move on to some other global news. European leaders criticising Donald Trump's threat of new tariffs for NATO allies who oppose his plans to take over Greenland. Denmark's Foreign Minister Lars Lokke Rasmussen saying the president's statement comes as a surprise. Earlier this week, we had a constructive meeting with Vice President J.D. Vance and the Secretary of State Marco Rubio. The purpose of the increased military presence in Greenland, to which the president refers, is to enhance security in the Arctic. France's President Emmanuel Macron says France is committed to the sovereignty and independence of nations in Europe and elsewhere. Tariffs threats are unacceptable and have no place in this context. Sweden's Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson has rejected the tariff threat, saying we will not allow ourselves to be blackmailed. Only Denmark and Greenland decide on issues concerning Denmark and Greenland. There's a similar theme from UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who said our position on Greenland is very clear. It is part of the Kingdom of Denmark, and its future is a matter for Greenlanders and the Danes. Applying tariffs on allies for pursuing the collective security of NATO is completely wrong. Amanda Acas has more on the UK response.
It follows not too slowly on the heels of what we heard from President Macron and the other allies pursuing a very similar line. But as I've been saying, normally Sir Keir Starmer strikes a much more diplomatic balance in terms of dealing with Donald Trump. He's generally a lot less critical of anything controversial that he's done, even when other allies have been prepared to call him out for some of his behaviour. But I think this really does strike the strongest line that we've heard ever, really, from Sir Keir Starmer, indeed, in saying that applying tariffs on allies for pursuing the collective security of NATO allies is completely wrong, and saying we'll be pursuing this directly with the Trump administration. I mean, it sounds like we don't know, but have they even been speaking to them? Did they have a forewarning of this? We don't yet know what kind of calls have been going on behind the scenes, other than that there has clearly been some kind of collective discussion between the affected European countries in terms of their position. But effectively, what we've heard here from Sir Keir Starmer is a restatement of the UK's position with regards to Denmark and Greenland, as we've heard it a number of times in the recent weeks from the Prime Minister, saying the future of Greenland is a matter for the people of Greenland and of Denmark, that they're a sovereign nation and a member of NATO, and that's something that's fully supported by the UK as a member of NATO. Now, of course, the US is the key member of NATO as well, which is rather the unspoken part, but that's pretty clear as well. And I think it's interesting as well, the fact that he's reiterated the fact that the UK has been talking about how much Arctic security matters for the whole of NATO, and allies should do more together to address the threat from Russia across different parts of the Arctic. And I think that's what's so interesting about this, really, that this a deployment of a UK British military officer as part of this reconnaissance mission, alongside a very small number of other military personnel from these other countries to Greenland as part of future joint operations in Greenland, was an effort to show solidarity, but it was also an effort to try and show we are taking this seriously. Donald Trump, you're worried about Greenland because you say it's vulnerable to China and Russia and we're not doing enough to defend it. Well, look, the rest of NATO, we are trying to step up and we are trying to do more. Now, clearly, it was only a very small operation in terms of the number of people sent there, relatively speaking, but Donald Trump, clearly from his language, saying that he doesn't know what on earth that they've been doing up there, suggests that he's very unimpressed by this. He sees this as a defensive move against any potential aggressive US military action. And I think what Sir Keir Starmer here is trying to restate the fact that it's about saying we are able to defend Greenland as a collective NATO alliance, but we need to do this together. It shouldn't be about unilaterally trying to seize Greenland or indeed purchase Greenland or force countries into selling Greenland, as Donald Trump is suggesting.